Hey guys, so we actually have the buffs live on DBZ Space, so we're going to go ahead and talk about them. I haven't actually looked at any of them yet, so I'm going into this completely blind, but I do have the two Super Saiyan Blues pulled up, um, just for comparison's sake, stats-wise, because I think they are sort of on the top end of like stats that units have now. So we'll use that as sort of a benchmark to compare to the buffed units, because if any of the buffed units have stats comparable to this, then that's really nice. So we're going to start out with Android 17, and this is the one I'm actually looking forward to the most. So if we actually take a look at his stats, he has 114 strike, 121 blast. So really good. Like Goku is a range type, and he's 124,000 blast. So Android 17 is not far behind, honestly. His total power level is 730. Goku's is 753, so it's a little bit lower than Goku's, but that's okay. Absolute confidence. Draw special arts card next, inflicts all enemies with attribute downgrade plus 35% to damage received. So that went from, I think, just blast damage to damage received, which is really nice. For 30 timer counts, that's a lot. He also reduces enemy ki by 60. I don't think that was there earlier. That's pretty good. I like that. Double team, blast attack up, 40% to blast damage inflicted with 3 battle members left. I think they didn't change this condition at all, but if I'm not mistaken, this went up, which is cool. And cover, reduce the enemy ki by 30, and reduces damage received by 50. Okay, so this went up by 10. I don't think this was there at all. And then he gets 40% to strike damage inflicted. I like that. I like reducing enemy ki by 30 because it basically inhibits their combo in a way that's not just, making them destroy their cards. That's pretty cool. His special attack, major slice damage, plus 1 to strike damage received. I don't think that's much different. And then the barrier is where he changed a lot. And he nullifies enemy attacks, excluding certain moves like Rising Rush, blah blah blah. Knockback to long range. And then it doesn't say on here, except he can chain off of this now. I remember them saying that on Twitter. The following effects occur if attacks are nullified. Reduces next damage sustained by 30%. This applies until enemy combo is finished. Plus 20% strike damage inflicted. I really like this because it basically means like that you can stay in with him even if you have no vanish and you get a green card off. I like that a lot. I think this green card is like now one of the best in the entire game. It costs so little. And they got rid of the because I remember it used to increase in cost every time you use it, but now they got rid of that. That's really cool. And the Z ability. So I think he gets androids from here. Yeah. Wow. Okay, so android based blast attack and defense. That's really good. I like this guy. This changes a lot. His stats are like, look at his defenses. 87 and 89. Like way better than Goku's. Way better than Vegeta's. I mean, obviously he is a defense type, but still he has cover cut too. I mean, this guy's going to bring androids back for sure. I think this guy is. I made a prediction on Twitter, but I think this guy is going to be the most impactful unit that's been buffed in this entire set. But next we have the first form Frieza, who I'm also looking forward to a lot, obviously. So it's level 3,000, 129,000 blast. That's a lot. Look at this. It's better than Like, who even? What's Golden Frieza's blast at? Like, it's almost as good as Golden Frieza's. that's a lot. His strike's only 108, but his overall power level is 743. Golden Frieza is 771. I mean, it's pretty close to Goku's, honestly. Like, it's not that far off. What's his defense? It's 84, 81, 80, 81. So his stats are pretty good. Like, that's a lot of blast attack. His special move, or main ability, draw a special move arts card next, plus 50% to own special move arts power for 25 timer counts. I don't think that's changed. This might have changed, but I'm not sure. And then the 40% of blast damage inflicted against tag Saiyan. This is the same too. I didn't think they would change that. And then I know this is a new ability. Didn't have this before. Applies plus 30% to ki recovery to self for 20 timer counts when this character enters the battlefield. That's just flat. So he gets that every time. That's pretty good. And his ki recovery is already really high. Plus 20% to blast damage inflicted per tag Frieza Force battle member, and he counts himself. Oh man, that's a lot. So if you run a team of this guy, Golden Frieza, and like any other Frieza Force, so like maybe I don't know, you run the EX Ginyu, or you run literally any of the EX that got buffed. Like there's so many Frieza Force members that are decent now. Like you could even run the Blue Zarbon EX. He would get 60% blast damage. Like just that's it. Like just baseline. He enters the battlefield. That's a baseline 60%. On top of this 40% blast damage, like plus his stats, like that's a lot of blast. Um, his supernova his supernova now deals massive damage. That's huge. That is a huge upgrade. Like the difference between massive and major is so big. Like people don't understand how much of a difference it makes. And he gets 75% to own special move arts power for 10 timer counts upon activation. This used to be, I believe it was 50, if I'm not mistaken, or it definitely was not 75 because that's a lot. Um, but I do wish they would kind of change this. Like and I said in my other video before I was able to see these buffs, that I wish they would have changed this to longer than 10 because it's not too feasible that you'll be able to get multiple special moves off within 10 timer counts of each other because it's just very rare. But I think with his main ability of him drawing a special move, it's definitely more possible than it is with other units. All right, and then his telekinesis they buffed to long range, like the yellow sparking Final Form Frieza. And I don't know if it had this on there. It actually it actually makes it cheaper for him to get off a special move. So even makes it easier for this to go off, for you to be able to get 2 off within 10 timer counts. So that's really good. And then his Z ability, let's see, he still buffs blue, and then base strike and attack and defense for Frieza Force. That's gonna be impactful because he gives blue and Frieza Force. So the thing with this is you can run the Final Form Cooler and then Golden Frieza and this Frieza on the same team. Because even though Final Form Cooler is not Frieza Force, he is blue still, so he's getting covered by this guy. Granted, he won't be getting the full effect of this because Cooler is not part of the Frieza Force, but I still think it's definitely worth running Cooler still. So I think a team of this guy, Golden Frieza, and Cooler is going to be like the team to beat coming up. So next we have the Super Saiyan Vegeta, the red one. Let's see what his stats are. 122,000. I mean, this guy's also a defense type, so his defenses are what he's specializing in, but 122 strike attack is very good. Blast attack is okay, but his defense is 89,000 strike defense, so much higher than his. Higher than his. Higher than his. Who's like a good... Let's look up Ribrianne, because she's like one of the best tanks in the game. What's her defense at? Yeah, much higher than Ribrianne. Wow. Who's like a really good tank? I mean, I guess we could look at the Android 17 that just got buffed too. So it's even higher than his, but like his blast defense is 89, and this Vegeta's is 86. So it's pretty comparable, honestly. They're just flip-flopped. Android 17 is more blast, while this guy has more strike defense. His main ability, Pure Evil, so minus 15 to own strike arts cost for 15 timer cuts. I think that's the same, unless this was... It's possible this was 10, but I don't think this changed. Increases arts card drop speed by 1 level. That is huge. That was not there earlier. Because making your cards cheaper and then also increasing the draw speed is like, they work so well together because you obviously are going to be using your cards so fast due to them being so cheap. But then you're also continuously drawing them over and over again. Now I don't think it would be as good as if it was as if this guy was blast oriented and he had a blast ability like this, just because you can't charge stuff with strike cards. But I still think this is a very good main ability to have. His unique ability, Assault Strike Attack up, plus 40% of strike damage inflicted from battle for 45 timer counts. Alright, so this went up, and then I think this went up a lot too, so that's good. And then Awakened Brutality, this is a new ability. You did not have this earlier. Plus 10% to damage inflicted for 10 timer counts when enemy uses a Strike Arts card. So this reminds me of the Metal Cooler's unique ability, where he would debuff the enemy every time they use a Strike Arts card, but instead of debuffing the enemy, this guy actually buffs himself. Interesting. The following effects also occur upon landing a Strike Arts hit. Randomly destroys one enemy card. Plus 10% to strike damage inflicted This is a really, really good ability. Randomly destroying one enemy card every single time he lands a strike arts, because this paired with his main ability where he just constantly just draws cards and has their cost reduced. That's really, really good, dude. He can literally just chain combo you with strike arts cards, and you'll just have an empty hand after at the end of it. Like that's nuts. Big Bang Attack deals major explode damage, inflicts enemy with attribute downgrade plus 20% strike damage received for 15 timer counts. Nothing special. It's pretty cookie cutter. Restores own health by 15% and cures abnormal conditions. I don't know. I can't recall if that's changed or not, but they might have made it cheaper. I'm not 100% sure. But now his Z ability at 5 stars is Vegeta family strike attack and defense during battle. Yeah, that's what we thought it would be. So it's red or Vegeta family. That's a pretty potent Z ability. It kind of reminds me of Kaioken Goku's Z ability, because he buffs blue and Sun family, while this guy buffs red and Vegeta family. So I really like this guy. He's looking really good. Okay, moving on, we have the Scouter Vegeta, the purple one. This is like one of the first units. He was on the first banner to ever release in the game, so about due for a buff. His blast attack is very high, 128,000, but I don't think that, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think that went up too much. Maybe like 6k or so. But his blast attack was already very high, so he didn't really need that big of a buff. Okay. Yeah, his stats look about par for the course. Let's see. Who's a range type? This guy's a range type. So yeah, about the same blast attack as Golden Frieza. Strike attack is obviously a lot lower, and his defense is 8179, 8179. Yeah, so he's... yeah, he's a little bit weaker in Golden Frieza in other aspects besides his blast attack. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, because this guy's literally a brand new unit who released, so I'm not really complaining. Prince's Pride, draw a Blast Arts card next. Plus 50% of blast damage inflicted for 30 timer counts. I don't know if this was 30 timer counts, that's a long time. And drawing a Blast Arts card next definitely didn't exist in this passive, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, I didn't think they were going to buff this 50%, that's already a lot. And especially Yellow, 33% strike and blast attack. That's like a premium buff for mono yellow. And mono yellow has been getting a lot of support lately. We'll see later. We have some EXs that are buffing this tag as well. I mean, not tag, the color as well. But that's going to do it for the sparking. Let's move on to the EXs now. So we have, finally, the third form Frieza. He's purple. Let's look at him at 7 stars, because I think it's reasonable to assume that a lot of people do have this guy at 7 stars. Okay, he has a lot. Look at this blast attack, dude. Look. Okay, hold on. Yeah. 124,000, 119 strike. 124,000 blast, a little bit less strike than this guy. This guy has 84, 81. This guy has 80, 83. So he's pretty comparable to a brand new sparking in Super Saiyan Blue Goku, which is pretty insane. Fearsome Leer inflicts enemy with attribute downgrade plus 45% of blast damage received for 30 timer. I don't think this is different. I think this timer count amount is different. I don't think it was 30 timer counts before. And then anti-regeneration plus 40% of blast damage inflicted against tag regeneration. Yeah, this was definitely buffed as well. I think it was 20 earlier, or maybe it was even just 10. I can't remember 100%, but I think they either doubled it or like did like a 2.5 times buff to that. Assault all costs down, -5 to own arts cost from battle start for 30 timer counts. Pretty, it's okay. It's not anything to go crazy over. Special is Crazy Finger Beam, deals major pierce damage, inflicts enemy with attribute downgrade, plus 10% of blast damage received for 15 timer counts, 40% chance to inflict bleed. I don't think that was changed. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's the same. And then 20% to own strike damage. Again, I don't really like these sort of green cards where, I mean, they did buff the strike attack a lot because it used to be a lot. The disparity between strike attack and blast attack used to be a lot bigger. So I'm happy they did that. So that actually makes this green card significantly better than it used to be. But he's holding two blast arts, so I mean, not too much value to be had in this card, I don't think. But yeah, he busts purple, and then Lineage of Evil blast attack, and then 7 stars 25. Interesting. I kind of like what they did with this guy. His stats are insane. Like for an EX, I'm definitely gonna be testing him out. Next, we have the first form Frieza. Let's see what his stats are at 7 stars. Oh, his blast attack. 133,000 blast attack. Is that the highest blast attack in the game? Actually, no, because he's 7 stars. Yeah, 7 stars this guy is higher, but 133 blast attack. 133,000 blast attack, that's a lot. And his defenses are not terrible either. Okay. Plus 45% of blast damage inflicted for 15 timer counts. That was definitely buffed. I think. Or maybe it wasn't. I think it was by a little bit. 10 timer counts with lapse, fine. Anti-Saiyan blast attack, plus 15 to blast damage inflicted against Saiyans. Yeah, 15% is a little bit low, but it's fine. He gets this massive buff. And then plus 15 to blast damage inflicted per defeated battle member. I don't think that was a part of his kit. Interesting. Death Beam deals major pierce damage, 20% of blast damage received, 15 timer counts on hit. Typical. Telekinesis. Okay, cool. Because this used to cost, for some reason, it costs like 35 key. But now they made it, significantly cheaper. So that's cool. It is only mid-range, but that's fine. It's still usable. Just hold 2 blast arts, which is good because that's what he wants to be doing. I mean, his strike attack is way lower. Like, if you look at the disparity between these stats compared to these, like this guy's blast attack is way higher than his strike attack, so he doesn't want to be holding any strike arts cards. And then he busts blue strike attack, and then he does end up buffing the Frieza Force strike attack. 25% 7 stars, so not terrible. Not terrible. Next we have the Yellow Vegeta. Let's see what he's at. 7 stars. Pretty nice blast attack. Pretty nice. His defenses are also pretty good too. Pretty high critical. He gets 35% to own key recovery. Just permanent. Like, you pop this, and it's just permanently 35% to own key recovery. You do have to wait 20 seconds, but it's still pretty good, I think, because like there's no scenario where you want to wait to pop this. You just pop it whenever you can. Crisis, blast attack up, plus 40% of blast damage inflicted when two allies are defeated. Uh, Not bad. I mean, I know there's a lot of people who aren't fans of the Crisis abilities, but I kind of do like them. Uh, yeah, I just think they're solid. It's pretty easy to manipulate the order in which your characters are defeated. Innate power, blast attack up, plus 35% of blast damage inflicted once 30 timer counts have been elapsed. Okay, so this guy wants to. This guy. Okay, so this guy is sort of similar to the to this guy in that they both want to sort of have the battle go on for an extended period of time, and then they sort of get more powerful. So 20 timer counts, 35% key recovery. 30 timer counts, 35% blast damage, and then when two allies are defeated, he gets 40%. So he's basically getting 75% blast damage if he's the last character alive. Interesting. And he has pretty decent blast attack, so I like that. Um, Gallic Gun deals major impact damage, inflicts enemy with attribute downgrade, plus 10% of blast damage received. Pretty decent. Plus 20% of blast damage for 20 timer counts. Okay, it's simple, but I think it's effective because he wants to be using blast arts cards, and he has two blasts. That's good. Strike and blast defense. So he's buffing both defenses. 26, 28. I was kind of expecting him to buff 30, but 28 is not that far off, so I'll take that. I think if you're running mono yellow, you do want to go with a more defensive setup anyway. So I think even if you're going to use this guy as a bench unit on that team, this is a pretty acceptable number, 28%. Because you would be using, I mean, so this guy and this guy are both new tools that mono yellow can use. I mean, if not even just for their bench, just very powerful buffs. Okay, next we have the Demon King Piccolo, and I'm pretty excited for this guy, even though a lot of people probably aren't, just because he didn't really need a buff, honestly. But we'll see how much his stats go up by. Yeah, 128,000 blast attack is pretty good, but his strike attack is pretty bad, and his defenses are pretty bad. It's interesting because if we look at this Frieza here, he has like that blast attack is like actually pretty ridiculous. He has 5,000 more blast attack, or about 5,000 more blast attack than this guy, but pre-buff, this guy had much higher blast attack. So interesting how they decided to do that. His critical is very high. Drive for world domination, -5 to own blast arts cost, and and then Evil Explosion deals major explode damage, inflicts enemy with attribute downgrade plus 20% to impact damage received. Okay, and then his green card is plus 20% to own blast damage. Again, solid. Now the only thing I don't like with this guy, and they didn't change, is the fact that he holds 2 strike arts, and it makes no sense to me because actually I do think one of these is actually like a poison, but I'm not sure. Um, it makes no sense because look how weak his strike attack is compared to his blast attack. Like you don't want to be using strikes with this guy, and that's the only thing that kind of bothers me. So I think when you're using this guy on a team, you're going to want your other battle members to be holding 2 Blast Arts cards, because otherwise you can't really make. Yeah, it's nice that he has this 40% and then 30% blast damage, and then like all this, like basically his whole kit is altering blast attack. But if you're not holding Blast Arts cards, like it's almost meaningless in a way. So I'm not really sure why they didn't change this. But he does still buff only purple. So 20% to both defenses for purple, pretty much the same as this guy. And then lastly, we have the green Turles. So it's 7 stars. What is he looking like? Alright, nice. Pretty nice blast attack. Strike attack's bad, and both defenses are still pretty bad. He does have a lot of health, though. Let's see what this other guy has. It's kind of similar to this. 1.6, 1.27. Yeah, so I mean, this guy's the highest amount of health, which is fine. Universe Destroyer, 30, yeah, 45% to strike damage. Like, this is what kind of gets me annoyed, because I definitely wanted them to change this to include some sort of blast or utility, because, like, I don't know, it's just not a lot. And I understand that some people like this because they're able to, like, even out the blast and strike, but, like, this guy holds 2 blast cards. All of his stuff is oriented towards blast, so why not just, you know, stick to one thing? I don't know. It's just kind of counterintuitive in my opinion. Next we have Anti-Super Warrior, blast attack up. 40% of blast damage inflicted against tag Super Warrior. It's still useless. It doesn't matter. This could be 800% of blast damage inflicted against Super Warrior. It still wouldn't matter. It wouldn't make this guy any better at all. Then we have Innate Power, inflicted damage up. Plus 30% of damage inflicted once 30 timer counts have elapsed. Okay, I like this. I don't know if this was even an ability before the buff, but overall damage is really nice. Like, I feel like that's what they should have done with this. They should have just made it overall damage. But yeah, this guy does want to stall, I guess, or have the battle go on for an extended period of time, because 30 timer counts. You guys know the deal by now. Kill Driver, major impact damage, 20% to own Strike Arts power. I don't like Strike Arts power in this guy. One of the following effects will occur at random. Own health by 20, 20% of the blast damage, 20% of the strike damage. Yeah, they didn't change this at all. In fact, I don't even think they made it cheaper. Then he heals 2 blasts, already said that. And then he just buffs the green. Same, literally just both defenses, same exact thing as the other guys we looked at already. But yeah, that's all the buffs. If we're being honest, out of the extremes, I really like the Frieza units. I know I'm a little biased, but I mean, this guy in particular, just because his defenses are very high. This guy's defenses are pretty high too. I would say that I like this guy the best. And then this guy. And then, actually, you know what? It's probably in the order that I liked him in. This guy is probably the most impressive to me. Then this guy. Then this guy. Then this guy. Then this guy. It might actually go like this, because I do think this guy's a solid option for, like a blitzing type team. But the only problem with this guy is that he doesn't really have any teams, like, besides Mono Purple. I mean, I guess you could run him on regen, but eh. And then in terms of the sparkings, where are we? Right here. Okay, so I do think, still, after seeing this, I do still think Android 17 is going to be the most impactful sparking that's getting buffed by far. Like, this is just insane. Like, this green card might be the best green card in the game now. Like, it costing, like, however much it costs, like 8 or 9, 10. Like, it doesn't even increase in cost anymore. It doesn't say that, does it? Yeah, it doesn't. It's just, this is a nuts card. Like, this is broken. This whole paragraph is one green card. It's broken. And then all this other stuff is very good. This got buffed. Like, I don't think this would get buffed. His defenses are insane. Like, this guy is going to bring Android teams back by himself. Like, this guy might be one of the best sparkings in the game now. It's actually stupid. This guy's pretty impressive. Who else do we have? Okay, yeah, I definitely think these two are the least impressive. But I think this guy is the least impressive. And then this guy. So in terms of, like, who I think are going to be the most impressive. This guy's 5. This guy's 4. This guy's definitely 1. And then in terms of 3 and 2, oh man. It's tough. I want to put this Vegeta second, but the only thing with this Vegeta is that the Vegeta family team isn't really a team yet. But he does fit on Super Saiyans, he does fit on Mono Red, which is, it's okay. And he does fit on just plain old Saiyans. While this Frieza fits on Frieza Force and then Lineage of Evil, and also Mono Blue, but Mono Blue is like doesn't really exist. But I think, yeah, it's a toss-up between these two as 2 and 3. I definitely have to test them out before I decide which one I like better, but him getting massive damage is really good. And plus this, like, I'm definitely gonna have a lot of fun playing with this guy and testing him out. So that's gonna do it. Keep your eyes out for this guy. This guy is something else. But hope you guys enjoyed that. Sorry for the longer video again, but I just wanted to get all my thoughts out. First time looking at the buffs. I'm excited to test them out, and I hope you guys are excited to see some content on all of these guys coming up, because there's going to be a lot of it. Catch you guys later.